Professional writing, Macmillan study skills. This is a summary of the most important chapters. Chapter 1. The writing process, rhetoric and genre. The chapter uses genre theory, rhetoric, and narrative theory as a basis for its approach to writing. Audience analysis. Writing always occurs in a unique context, with a specific time, place, and reader. Adapting to the audience is a key skill for writers. It is also important to understand the relationship that writers form with their readers through their style and the information provided. Effective audience dynamics occur when the reader feels the questions raised in the text are relevant and the answers provided are convincing. A document may have primary, immediate, and secondary audiences with different interests and knowledge levels. In such cases, a solution is to include background information for novices and technical details in an appendix for experts. Writing in professional contexts. In management, tasks are often structured as projects. A project brings together specialists to accomplish a specific aim, such as developing a new product or solving a problem, and it takes place within time parameters and a budget. The information for the project is communicated to the team through a brief. A brief provides the information for the story of a project, including information on stakeholders, issues, problems, and limitations. Analyzing a brief involves considering the scene, content, and treatment. Scene. This includes the scope and framework of the project, the audience, the stakeholders, and the context that triggered the project. Content. This involves the main message and key issues to be addressed in the project. Treatment. This includes the genre and supplementary documents. Generating content. Generating content is an analytical practice involving research and thinking, and the type of research depends on the audience and purpose. It is not sufficient to collect facts, but it is also necessary to think about their significance and to interpret them. This involves skills in analyzing ideas and synthesizing them. Brainstorming statements about a topic using categories such as existence, quantity, comparison, correlation, and causality can help in the generating of ideas. Drafting. Drafting occurs after gathering sufficient information and having a clear idea of the writing's direction. This is when the ideas are expanded. It is useful to be receptive to influences that can provide direction and inspiration during this stage. It also involves being open to serendipitous moments. Drafting involves several conceptual actions including accounting for, or giving reasons and explaining why something happened, analyzing, or taking apart an idea to evaluate it, arguing, or systematically supporting or rejecting a viewpoint with evidence, discussing, or explaining an item with supportive material, evaluating, or discussing and reaching a conclusion about the material, examining, or analyzing a topic and offering a critical judgment, explaining, or offering a detailed explanation of an idea, listing, or presenting issues in an itemized series, outlining, or giving an organized ordering of information, reviewing, or examining and commenting briefly on the main points, overcoming writer's block. The chapter provides techniques for overcoming writer's block, such as using the scene content treatment model to analyze briefs and planning the course of action. Tips for successful writers. When joining a new company, find out about the house style. If starting a new company, make house style a priority to support clarity and uniformity in document design. Planning techniques. Outlining. This is a method where section topics are created, then a summary, and then the ideas are gradually expanded. Key themes are extracted and given headings, and then related points are brainstormed under each heading. This is effective for top-down writers. Storyboarding. This is a spatial type of outlining using visuals to depict main scenes, with scripts describing the action. In writing, descriptive headings replace the screen. The chapter emphasizes that it is important to keep all information generated during brainstorming, outlining, and storyboarding until the project is finished, as information that seems redundant initially can become useful at later stages. Chapter 2. Writing style. Style as a combination of elements. The chapter defines style as the result of different combinations of sentence structures, sentence lengths, and word choices. Particular arrangements of words emphasize different elements and produce varying degrees of objectivity and subjectivity, making them suited for specific genres and purposes. The choice of style should consider context, genre, and purpose. Sentences and style. Sentence length. Use a variety of simple and complex sentences, with short, simple sentences for emphasis. Short sentences have a greater impact on the reader because they condense meaning. Expanding a sentence dissipates the meaning. Main and subordinate clauses. The main clause foregrounds information, while the subordinate clause backgrounds it. Consider if subordinated information should be given more importance by placing it in a separate sentence as a main clause. Subordination and coordination affect balance and emphasis. Sentence structures. Complex sentences can be loose, centered, or periodic. Loose structure begins with the main clause, followed by subordinate clauses. Centered structure embeds subordinate clauses within the main clause. Periodic structure begins with subordinate clauses and leads to the main clause. This can increase the importance of the main clause, but delays it. It is more common in oral texts than in formal reports. The 3 golden rules of professional writing. Be specific. Achieve clarity by being as specific as possible, choosing relevant information to convey the message. Each section should be about one topic, and all information should relate to that topic. Avoid making the reader reread to decipher hidden meanings. Favor topic action structures. Focus on the central parts of the sentence, the subject, verb, and object. Place the topic of the sentence first or as close to the beginning as possible, followed by the action. Use cohesive devices. Cohesion is how segments of a text are combined to produce flow and transition. It consists of repetition and variation, existing within a sentence, between sentences, and between paragraphs. Cohesion is achieved through reference and adverbial conjunctions. Parenthetical definitions, placed between brackets or dashes, provide brief definitions of terms within a sentence, acting as a cohesive device. Adverbial conjunctions create transitions and show relationships between sentences. A typology of style. This section presents a continuum of writing styles, from specialized to public. Specialized style focuses on accuracy and precision, uses complete words and avoids contractions, includes objective descriptions and critical analysis, emphasizes impersonal presentation of facts. Journalistic style focuses on the reader and uses simple, direct, and clear language, emphasizes a key point that can be summarized in a headline, includes a nut graph that summarizes the crux of the article, provides explanations of concepts, companies, events, and people. Public style uses clear and unambiguous language, simplifies concepts, is direct and informal. Audience and medium matters. The choice of style should take into account the intended audience and the medium. Word choice. Avoid wordiness. Use concise language and avoid clichés. Use specific language. Choose specific words to ensure clarity. Use complete words. Avoid contractions in more formal writing. Clarity. One test of the quality of professional writing is the ease with which it can be summarized. A document that is hard to summarize needs revising. Chapter 3. Short Business Documents. Chapter 3 of Professional Writing, titled Short Business Documents, focuses on the writing that professionals do every day and the formats of short business genres, such as memos, email, and oral presentations. This chapter emphasizes the importance of clear and concise communication in various professional contexts. Here's a detailed summary of the main points. General business writing principles. There are several writing principles relevant for all business genres. State your purpose close to the beginning of the document, as business writing is top-heavy. The beginning is a prominent position, and important information should be placed there. Don't make the reader wait for the main point. Respond to the brief, establish a link with previous exchange. Remind readers why you are writing this document. Present information in order of its importance to the readers. The most effective way to organize information is from most important to least important from the reader's point of view. Chunk information into sections with a clear pattern of development. Make sure the logic of the organization of paragraphs and sections is clear and consistent. Use listing and bullet points to condense and highlight information. Put information of questionable or partial importance into an attachment. Short documents must have one main message, and any additional information should go in a separate document. State clearly what action you want the reader to take. Action requested usually comes at the end of the document. Short reports. The report is the most common genre in business writing, with subgenres that are either analytical, evaluating and interpreting, or descriptive, stating facts without analysis. This chapter focuses on descriptive reports, including agendas. These list the items for discussion at business meetings. An agenda includes the date, time, venue, and topics to be discussed. Minutes. These contain summaries of discussions held at meetings. They also include information on tasks allocated to team members. Progress reports. These state tasks completed within a project and compare actual progress against planned progress. Progress reports should include project title, dates, current status, resource summary, major tasks remaining, and additional comments. Contracts and license agreements. These list obligations and privileges that bind two or more parties. They are highly formal. Everyday communication documents. Much professional communication occurs through shorter documents, such as letters and memos. Letters are typically addressed to readers outside the organization, while memos are for internal communication. Business letters. They can accompany reports, confirm previous communication, introduce a candidate's application, or notify recipients of changes. The standard length of a business letter is 1 page. A typical business letter includes a letterhead, date, recipient's information, the nature of the letter in the first sentence, 2 to 3 paragraphs of content, and a closing sentence with the next action to be taken. Memoranda. Memos are internal documents sent to colleagues, superiors, or subordinates. They are often being replaced by email. They use the same header as email, to, from, date, and subject. Memos are short texts that state facts, using bullet points and lists. They avoid wordiness, and may use headings. Email. While email is rapidly replacing memos, it does not replace signed copy, as signed documents are still considered more binding and formal. Format. Emails should have a clear subject heading, use a professional tone, and avoid overly complex formatting. If graphs and tables are included, they should be attached as Word or PDF documents. Content. Emails should be concise and well organized. It's important to be discreet when writing about a third party, as emails can be circulated. It is important to consider that emails may not display as intended due to different software programs. Use. In cases where the message is a binding contract or includes information that should be recorded, consider submitting it as a separate document, such as a letter, contract, or report. Writing in bullets. Bullet points are a way to condense and highlight information. They should list information that belongs to one logical category. Bullet points can be complete sentences or phrases. Guidelines. Use bullet points for items of roughly equal value, and use numbered lists for items with priority ranking. Bullet points should follow a lead sentence and be structured as endings of that sentence. They are an additive, not developmental, technique. Oral presentations. This section covers the importance of presentations in business and some techniques that are helpful in ensuring your audience understands the message and is able to retain the information. Differences between speaking and writing. Spoken information is more difficult to retain, so listeners may need to take notes or be provided with written material to reinforce the information. Speaking relies on intonation, stress, pauses, and body language to convey meaning and make an impact. In presentations, visuals can be more important than verbal information. Presentation slides, they should have clearly visible fonts, 18-point or larger, and graphs should be clear. Animation and special effects should be used strategically. Content, focus on key points and give only as much background information as necessary. Avoid an overly linear sequence, and summarize sections. Speaking, speak clearly and at a reasonable pace. If possible, do not read from the screen, but maintain eye contact. Chapter 4. Research Methods. Chapter 4 of Professional Writing, titled Research Methods, focuses on the role of research in professional writing and how to access and analyze information. It emphasizes the importance of evaluating sources and understanding legal and ethical concerns related to using sources. Here's a detailed summary of the main points. The research process. The chapter outlines a 5-step process for gathering information. Identify the information required. This step involves determining the specific information needed for a project, which comes with audience, purpose, and genre analysis. Identify potential sources of information. Decide upon appropriate search strategies. Evaluate the source and content of the information. Integrate the information effectively in the writing. Types of research. Research is divided into 2 main categories. Primary research. This involves direct observation, preparing questionnaires, conducting interviews, undertaking fieldwork, and conducting experiments. It leads to the presentation of empirical data and is generally written in an analytical and descriptive fashion. Secondary research. This involves consulting printed and electronically transmitted material. It searches for historical backgrounds, different points of view on an issue, recorded precedents of a situation, and theoretical perspectives. This type of research uses techniques of synthesis, interpretation, and evaluation. Data collection methods. Questionnaires. When creating questionnaires, it's important to use clear language, avoid leading questions, and try them out on someone first. Make the questionnaire attractive and easy to use, using headings, clear layouts, and an effective sequence of questions. Interviews and focus groups. When conducting interviews, allow the interviewee time to respond, maintain eye contact, and be professional and impartial. Search methods. Before starting any research, it's important to have a clear idea of your objectives. You should also search for research journals in your topic. When using the Internet to search for information, using multiple words will refine results. Evaluating sources. Evaluating sources is crucial to ensure the credibility and validity of the information. The chapter discusses the following points. Author. Check if the author has credentials in the field. Funding. What organization funded the research, and what are their interests? Primary research. If the writer conducted primary research, what methods were used, and is the sample population typical? Bias. Assess if the information is comprehensive and unbiased, and if it clearly states its purpose and the origin of the information. Style and quality. Examine the quality of writing. Sloppy or ungrammatical writing can be a warning sign. Types of sources. Sources are categorized from most to least authoritative. Scholarly sources. These include academic journals, research monographs, university textbooks, and anthologies of essays. They are written in discipline-specific language and cite their own sources. Specialist documents. These may be produced by government, corporate, and legal institutions. They provide more superficial information, but can refer to the original sources. Public documents. These include governmental, corporate, and legal documents, and are written in clear, unambiguous language. The Internet. Although the Internet is a source, it is also a medium. Internet sources must be evaluated using the same criteria as print sources. You should check if a site is comprehensive and unbiased. Copyright and plagiarism. The chapter emphasizes the importance of understanding copyright and avoiding plagiarism. Plagiarism. This means copying or reproducing someone else's work without giving them credit. Plagiarism can be avoided by summarizing, paraphrasing, or quoting, and always citing sources. All ideas taken from other texts need referencing, except for common knowledge. When in doubt, always cite. Copyright. Copyright is regulated by the laws of each country. Copyright expires after a certain amount of time when the work becomes part of the public domain. For works created after 1977, the term of copyright protection is the life of the author plus 70 additional years for individuals and 95 years for corporate authors. Plagiarism in business contexts. In business documents, especially those involving major projects, it is important to cite sources and follow rules of referencing. This ensures accountability and proper attribution. Chapter 5. Journalism. Chapter 5 of Professional Writing, titled Journalism, explores techniques for writing appealing and informative articles for a variety of publications, including specialist magazines and company newsletters. The chapter distinguishes between different types of journalism, focusing on how to communicate complex information to a broader audience. Here's a summary of the key points. Journalism as a skill. The ability to communicate results is crucial for professionals in developing products or discovering new information. This chapter provides techniques to help professionals write for a specialist magazine or company newsletter. Types of journalism. The chapter distinguishes between hard and soft news. Hard news is breaking news of events that happen suddenly and affect many people, such as war, accidents, or stock market changes. This type of news is ephemeral and becomes outdated rapidly. Soft news is information that people want to hear and whose relevance does not disappear as quickly, such as technological developments or profiles of leaders. Major journalistic genres. The chapter describes the following genres: editorials, opinion articles written by the editor, often addressing a current news topic. News stories, present facts of current events, usually following the 5 Ws and 1 H, what, where, when, who, why, and how. News stories follow an inverted pyramid format, with the most important information at the beginning. Feature articles elaborate on topics that may have been news stories earlier. They describe the topic's history, applications, and relevant people. Layout and page design. The chapter covers elements of page design that include space. Articles must adhere to word limits in relation to the space allotted in the magazine's layout. Paragraph length. Magazine articles usually have shorter paragraphs than reports or essays. Visuals. Visuals can effectively complement journalistic-style documents. Titles and headlines. Titles are used for all articles except news stories. Headlines are used for news stories. Titles can be creative, while headlines are written in present tense. Pull quotes. Text pulled out from the article and used to highlight main points. Subheads. Text under the title that gives more information on the topic. Crossheads. Section headings used to direct readers' attention. Captions. Text accompanying a visual, explaining the significance of the visual. Organization of content. Paragraphing. Information should be divided into meaningful chunks to highlight points and encourage a sense of development. People tend to remember information in chunks of 5 to 7 items. Conversational approach. Magazine articles often adopt a conversational tone rather than dense, conceptual language. Journalistic style. Journalistic writing makes unfamiliar concepts familiar by presenting information relevant to readers in a creative and engaging way. Factual. Include as much factual information as possible using the 5 Ws and 1 H questions. Rational. Business readers are usually interested in making evaluative judgments, so rational descriptions are best. Specific. Give specific examples, quotations, and experimental data where possible. Technical. Use industry-specific jargon and metaphors, demonstrating insider knowledge. Writing for the media. Focus on the reader using a style that is simple, direct, and clear. Focus on the key message, summarizing it in a single sentence and headline. Include a paragraph summarizing the essence of the article as soon as possible, a nut graph. Provide enough explanation so the reader can follow the concepts without puzzling. Be specific in identifying problems and solutions. Avoid scope creep by sticking to the key points. Accuracy in journalism. Writers must be selective when presenting complex topics due to space limitations. Writers should use visualization and narrative techniques to make concepts simple without being simplistic. Writers should resist the temptation to exaggerate or generalize and mislead readers. Specialist versus journalistic writing. Specialist writing focuses on objects and events and emphasizes credibility through objective claims. It uses technical jargon and precise claims supported by evidence. Journalistic writing focuses on people and human interest aspects of professional endeavors. It avoids jargon, using everyday language, and relies on general observations. Developing journalistic texts. This section provides guidelines for developing feature articles. Techniques. This includes describing parts, tracing history, describing qualities, and analyzing value. Analogies. Use analogies to explain difficult topics, being careful not to create a false equivalence. Comparison. Compare the topic with others to show its specific features. Stories. Tell stories to illustrate and explain concepts. Integrating quotations. In specialist documents, lead into a quotation so the sentence begins in your own words and ends with the quote. In journalistic writing, begin the sentence with a quotation and end with your comment. Leads, hooks, and ties. Magazine articles immediately show the relevance of the topic to the reader. The sentences after the lead should add background and may state what the article will do. Analyzing magazine articles. The chapter outlines steps to familiarize yourself with magazine article conventions. Note the questions or issues the articles address and how they answer them. Notice the tone. Notice the use of research and quotations. Note the leads and ties. Underline the first sentence in each paragraph to see how the themes develop. Identify techniques to make the article informative and appealing. Examine the titles. Look at visuals and other paratextual elements. Chapter 7. Reports and Proposals. Chapter 7, titled Reports and Proposals, focuses on longer business documents, specifically reports, proposals, and business plans, and provides guidelines and formats based on standard international conventions. The chapter emphasizes that the format and structure of reports can vary to suit the needs of the organization, writing situation, and audience, and it also highlights the importance of in-house templates and style guides. Here's a breakdown of the key points covered in Chapter 7. Types of reports. Descriptive reports inform the reader of past or future events, emphasizing detail and facts. Technical reports describe and explain specifications, equipment components, and system applications. Analytical reports address a problem by identifying issues, investigating solutions, and recommending actions, incorporating elements of persuasion and logical reasoning. Proposals and submissions are highly persuasive, arguing for a specific course of action, often requesting funding or authorization. Submissions argue for or against an issue to a responsible body. Problem-solving reports, also known as investigative reports, analyze a problem and recommend a specific course of action to solve it. They often require specialist knowledge and are commissioned by clients or management. Feasibility studies investigate a possible plan of action and advise on whether it should be taken, weighing costs against projected income. General guidelines for reports. Include all information needed by the readers, paying attention to the problem that triggered the report, methods used, and findings. Structure the report so that readers can easily find information, using titled and numbered sections, executive summaries, and headers/footers. Write clearly and concisely, and use patterns in sequencing information. Paragraphing in analytical reports. Report paragraphs should be longer than web content or magazine articles, but shorter than essays, generally 4 to 6 sentences long. Paragraphs should be short enough to catch the reader's eye but long enough to allow for elaboration and analysis. Each paragraph should focus on one main point, and there should be sufficient cohesion within the paragraph and transitions between paragraphs. Sections and section headings. Reports require sections and headings to summarize the content and make reading easier. Section headings should be balanced and consistent with parallel structure. A report outline should list sections and subsections, and headings should highlight the content and significance of the project. Sections and subheadings are conventionally numbered according to alphanumeric or decimal numbering methods. Visuals in reports. The chapter discusses the importance of including visuals, tables, charts, graphs, diagrams, to highlight data, clarify information, and make the report more engaging. Types of visuals include bar graphs, line graphs, and pie charts to show quantities, scattergrams to show correlations, flow charts to show processes, Gantt charts to combine processes with time, organizational charts to show relationships and create a directory, exploded diagrams to show components in a structure, schematics to show relationships between theoretical concepts, timelines to show simple time sequences, proposals. Proposals are common in professional settings for project approval or funding. Proposals should address a problem, set clear objectives, and describe the project, including a budget and resource requirements. Proposals should also assess the need for collaborators and make sure everyone understands their role in the project. Proposal components: project description, objectives, methodology, timeline, budget, evaluation plan, facilities description, and bibliography. Book proposal components: description of subject and its market position, distinctive features, target readers, main competitors, author qualifications, and chapter outlines. Feature article proposal components include a description of the project, its objectives, benefits, proposed method, and an evaluation plan. Business plans. Business plans are used to attract investors, high-quality employees, and collaborators. Key sections of a business plan include the company and product description, market and competition, management team, risk management, and financial information. Financial projections should be clear, simple, and include key metrics and assumptions. The layout of a business plan includes a title page, executive summary, table of contents, list of figures, company description, and financial information. Problem-solving reports. Problem-solving reports are written by specialists to a non-expert audience and follow a brief or terms of reference. These reports are divided into the front matter, body, and end matter. Front matter includes a letter of transmittal, title page, acknowledgements, executive summary, table of contents, and list of figures. Body includes the introduction, background, purpose, scope, research methods, discussion, and conclusion. End matter includes references, glossary, and appendices. The discussion section in the body of the report can be organized using different methods such as general to specific, more important to less important, comparison and contrast, cause and effect, or chronological. Recommendations should state specific actions, who should implement them, and within what time frame. Briefs, executive summaries, and recommendations. The chapter includes examples of a brief, executive summary, and recommendations from a problem-solving report, illustrating their interconnectedness. Examples of reports: The chapter presents excerpts from a business plan and a consulting report to demonstrate the application of the concepts. Chapter 8. Critical Thinking for Management. Chapter 8, titled Critical Thinking for Management, emphasizes the importance of logical and objective reasoning for professional success. It delves into the cognitive skills, common fallacies, and the use of statistical data in management decision-making. Here are the key topics covered in Chapter 8. Principles of Critical Thinking. The chapter asserts that critical thinking is a skill developed through effort, not an innate talent. Some key strategies for developing critical thinking skills are: independent thinking. Evaluate information from different angles, and do not accept claims or statements without examination. Be cautious of accepting claims from authority figures without question. Questioning. Go beyond understanding what a writer has stated, and consider what information may be missing, what questions you might ask the writer, and what further information you need. Analogies. Identify how information learned in one context can apply to others. Look for similarities and differences between concepts. Problem solving. Approach problems with an open mind and consider a range of solutions. Assumptions. Identify the assumptions that underlie claims or arguments. Fallacies of reasoning. The chapter identifies common errors in thought processes that lead to faulty reasoning. Some fallacies include generalization, using a small sample to make a sweeping statement about all members of a group. False cause, assuming that because one event follows another, the first event caused the second. Personal attack, ad hominem, attacking the person making the argument rather than the argument itself. Appeal to authority, accepting a claim simply because an authority figure makes it. Appeal to emotion, using an emotive style with irrelevant evaluative words or metaphors to sway opinion. Appeal to popularity, assuming something is correct because many people believe it. Card stacking observational selection, omitting information that does not support your view and focusing on facts that do. False extrapolation, extrapolating a claim from observed facts without considering alternatives. Statistics and public opinion. The chapter discusses how statistical information can be manipulated or misinterpreted. It states that although the study of statistics is a recent development, quantitative information is now commonly used to justify decisions. Argument in management. The chapter emphasizes the importance of ethical considerations and careful analysis in business decisions. Successful business documents need to demonstrate three qualities: credibility, showing foresight, integrity, and sound judgment; creativity, demonstrating novelty and innovation; compliance, following regulations and procedures. The Tolman and Stasis models. The chapter introduces two models of argument structure. Tolman model. This model includes data, claim, warrant, backing, qualifier, and rebuttal. The example given in the chapter uses Microsoft as an example. Stasis model. This model focuses on the four questions of fact, definition, quality, and policy. Chapter 9. Working in Teams. Chapter 9, titled Working in Teams, explores the dynamics of teamwork and collaboration in professional settings, highlighting their importance in project completion. The chapter discusses team dynamics, task allocation, project management, conflict management, and provides real-life testimonials on teamwork. Here's a breakdown of the key points in Chapter 9. Team dynamics. The chapter notes that teams can be highly effective when they combine the specialized skills of their members, but can also suffer from delays, misunderstandings, and conflicts. Effective teams rely on negotiation, duty allocation, and conflict management. The chapter lists several reasons why teams can be effective problem solvers. Teams bring together experts from different specializations and skill sets. More extensive information is available in a team than an individual may have alone. Individuals bring different approaches to a problem within the team, allowing for a wider range of options. Improved understanding of the problem and possible solutions is possible because team members are aware of the reasoning used in problem analysis. Risks can often be managed more effectively in teams. Motivation and confidence are likely to increase in decisions made in team situations because individual team members feel supported by others. However, the chapter also notes the disadvantages of team decision-making, such as decisions can be made too soon if teams are uncomfortable with conflict. Decisions can take too long if the team cannot agree. A lack of initiative and responsibility may occur if there is no hierarchy or leader. Teams may be influenced by a charismatic individual, causing them to overlook pertinent factors. Too much conflict can make the team inoperable. Teams may displace responsibility so that it is difficult to hold an individual member accountable for a negative outcome. Good team dynamics are achieved when members are attracted to the team's purpose, share similar values, and fulfill each other's interpersonal needs. Task allocation. The chapter emphasizes the need for a formal system of duty allocation, negotiation, delegation, monitoring, and feedback for productive teamwork. 3 common models for organizing team projects are: sequential model. Each department or person is assigned a specific, non-overlapping responsibility and must complete their task before passing it on to the next stage. This model can be effective for specialized tasks, but can be slower and requires project management. Functional model. Organized by the skills or job function of the members, with all stages of the project undertaken concurrently and monitored at each stage. All parties work on the project at the same time and interact regularly through meetings. Mix and match model. Team members agree on objectives and then work independently on separate sections, meeting to compare work and choose the best samples. This approach can be constructive in smaller-scale projects. Another version of this model involves team members using the same interactive software to work on the same project concurrently. The leader. The chapter highlights the importance of a leader in any collaboration model, regardless of whether the team works on egalitarian principles. Effective leaders maintain cohesion and stability, and share characteristics such as being a unifying force, maintaining cohesion, initiating tasks, project management. The chapter states that effective project management includes definition, planning, and direction. Definition involves describing the final product and its place in the market. Planning involves identifying and prioritizing the tasks necessary for completion. Direction involves allocating roles and setting a timeline. Team roles. The chapter describes Belbin's 9 team roles, which relate to behaviors team members exhibit, including action-oriented roles, shaper, implementer, completer, finisher, people-oriented roles, coordinator, team worker, resource investigator, thought-oriented roles, plant, monitor, evaluator, specialist. Conflict. The chapter recognizes that conflict is inherent in human relations, stemming from incompatible goals, behaviors, or when resources need to be allocated. Managing conflict involves defining the problem, analyzing the problem in terms of size, causes, and evaluation, generating possible solutions by brainstorming, implementing solutions, with the team agreeing on which solutions to use, feedback processes, effective listening, responding to feelings, summarizing to check mutual understanding, avoiding groupthink. The chapter warns that the absence of conflict can indicate groupthink, where the free voicing of concerns and dissent is discouraged. Factors that can lead to groupthink include belief in being invincible, attempts to rationalize all issues, belief in inherent morality, stereotyping, direct pressure, self-censorship, belief in unanimity, imposing mind guards. Testimonials on teamwork. The chapter includes extracts from evaluations of engineering team projects, highlighting problems such as unclear task allocation, inadequate meeting structures, lack of leadership, and inadequate planning. The chapter includes several recommendations based on the testimonials. Pick team members with a good distribution of skills, define roles and responsibilities early in the project, use agendas and schedules, maintain flexibility, ensure that a leader is in place, plan ahead, and avoid procrastination. Team charter. The chapter provides a team charter template for planning and monitoring team projects. The template includes the project title, objectives, deliverables, milestones, team member roles and responsibilities, a communication protocol, team rules and meeting dates. Chapter 10. Revising and Editing. Chapter 10. Revising and Editing focuses on the crucial aspects of refining written work, including sentence structure, grammar, and the overall revision process. The chapter aims to enhance awareness of the communicative effects of grammatical structures and empower writers to control the mechanics of their writing. It emphasizes that revising and editing are distinct processes, with revision being the more substantial activity involving a complete reconsideration of the text. Here's a detailed breakdown of the key concepts covered in Chapter 10. Sentence structure. The chapter reviews basic sentence elements, such as subjects, verbs, and objects. It explains the difference between a sentence, which includes a subject and a verb, and a phrase, which does not have both. It also discusses different types of sentences. Simple sentences contain one main clause. Compound sentences contain two or more main clauses connected with conjunctions. Complex sentences contain one main clause and one or more subordinate clauses. Compound complex sentences contain two or more main clauses and one or more subordinate clauses. Grammar. The chapter discusses several grammar-related topics including active and passive voice. The chapter explains that the active voice emphasizes the agent performing an action, whereas the passive voice emphasizes the object or person acted upon. Writers should make a strategic choice between the two. The passive voice is often used in scientific writing, where the process is more important than the personal role of the scientists. However, the passive voice should be used with caution in cases such as proposals or formal reports, where the reader wants to know who is responsible for different actions. Participial phrases. The chapter explains that participial phrases can make writing more concise, add variety, and increase formality. The chapter cautions against common errors such as dangling modifiers, where the verb of the participial phrase does not agree with the noun immediately following it. Subject-verb-pronoun agreement. This section stresses the importance of using a singular verb with a singular subject and a plural verb with a plural subject. Punctuation. The chapter notes that punctuation marks introduce rhythm and pace to writing. The chapter provides grammatical rules for the use of commas, semicolons, colons, apostrophes, and quotation marks. Spelling. The chapter emphasizes that poor spelling is a sign of sloppiness or illiteracy, and that relying on spell checkers is insufficient. The chapter includes a table of commonly confused words. Revising and editing. The chapter emphasizes the distinction between these two processes. Revision involves a complete reconsideration of the text, its meaning, flow, and significance. It includes ensuring the writing is effective for the target audience and purpose, and requires creativity and vision to determine what needs to be changed. It also includes ensuring the document has a sustained focus and purpose throughout. Editing ensures that the text complies with company style guides and genre conventions. Editing can be substantive, which involves deleting or reorganizing sections, or mechanical, which involves checking for style consistency, formatting, and grammar. The chapter states that editing can be done by the writer or another person. The chapter provides a guide that moves from the big picture or conceptual content to the details, encouraging writers to check whether all necessary information is present and the brief was appropriately and effectively addressed. The chapter provides a revision chart to assist with this process. Style guides. The chapter notes that many organizations have style guides or manuals that provide stylistic and formatting guidelines. It suggests creating style sheets or manuals if they do not exist. The chapter lists some common sections for style guides, including spelling, fonts, formatting, and visual guidelines. Common reasons for communication failures. The chapter concludes with a list of common reasons for communication failures, both on conceptual and writing levels. Not being clear, accurate, and concise. Not having enough signposting or highlighting. Not paying attention to deadlines.